You wanted us. You were crying out that you bypassed the harder team in Miami.
Rose came down bad on his left foot. See him holding onto his knee and down. Happens here.
Yeah, it's before he comes down. It's the plant right there on that left leg.
And that is not a particularly happy sight for Michael. Just watch his knee.
Steal by Livingston after good defense by Mobley. No finish though by Sean, and he's hurt. Left knee, Livingston. Now in pain. Felton with Dyer in there. Rebound Graham. And Sean Livingston is really hurt. He's really hurt. He dislocated.
The first sport I ever did was gymnastics. I would say it was my first love. I started, I think I was 4, and me and a few other friends all started at the same time. And we made the gymnastics team at the same time when we were in 2nd grade, and they're still some of my really good friends now. So I would say that gymnastics has had one of the biggest impacts on my life. Also the fact that I tore my ACL doing it, so more memories to be made with gymnastics. I did a lot of sports whenever I was a kid. So I like I said, I did gymnastics. I was a figure skater. I guess I was into the artistic because I also did dance. And I feel like every other child, I played soccer. That one didn't really stick. I wasn't that good at soccer. I don't like to run. Figure skating, I did until grade school a little bit. And then I stopped that because I wanted to maybe pursue gymnastics and dance a little bit more. And then I think starting in 4th grade is when I started track. I did summer track, and that's a lot different than school track because you practice during the week and then you have meets on Saturdays, and the meets go all day. So I met people on my team, I met people on other teams. I got to have a taste of track before I was allowed to do it at my school, and I think that really gave me an advantage because I had already known how to do some of the things that my peers didn't know how to do. Then I stopped doing gymnastics, I stopped doing dance, and I started doing volleyball, and that was something that I really enjoyed doing. I liked it because it was really a team sport, and besides soccer, I really hadn't done like a team sport. You know, gymnastics, we have a team, but you know, you're competing as an individual. Or figure skating, like maybe you have a group of people, but you're still doing it by yourself, and same with track. But with volleyball, there are 6 people on your court, and you have to work together to win, you know. So I think of all the sports that I've done, I can't say that I have one single favorite. I think each one of them have taught me a different lesson about life, lesson about myself, and for that I'm pretty grateful for the sports that I played. The first time I tore my ACL was last year during volleyball season. It was after the first week, and I came down on another girl's foot after a hit, and I felt my knee kind of go in, and I knew something happened. As soon as it happened, I was like, oh my gosh, because I definitely felt my knee did something. I felt like it dislocated is what it feels like. But actually the first thing I thought was, am I going to be able to play in our tournament? That was the next day. Everyone just kept saying, the time will go by, the time will go by. Or like, you just gotta keep a positive attitude, which is easy. It's better said than done, I guess. Everyone can say, you know, keep a positive attitude, but whenever you're the one that can't play, it's kind of hard to keep that positive attitude. My most memorable moment, probably the first time I got to run on the treadmill. And I hate running, believe me, I hate running so much, but whenever you're not allowed to walk at very fast or you can't jump or do anything, running is actually a pretty big accomplishment. Something I would have done differently, I probably would have started exercising my quad more, because what I realized is what they use to let you go back and play is how strong your quad is. So the sooner you start exercising it, the better it gets. So I would have started that a little bit earlier. From tearing my ACL the first time, I guess I learned that sports aren't everything. It's a big part of my life, but getting knocked down like that kind of made me realize that A, there are other things, and B, it just kind of made me be a little bit more stronger, I guess, or work a little bit harder for things because I had to get back to where I was before. I tore my ACL the second time in my first gymnastics meet, actually. I was on floor, which should have been the easiest one, but it was during my second pass. I was doing a front aerial, and my first foot came down, and I must have been low or something, and it just kind of like buckled underneath me, and I immediately knew. Boy. It definitely felt the same, excuse me, because within the first and the second tear, I both felt that it almost like felt dislocated, and just that like slight movement. So whenever I felt it the second time, I knew it was the same as the first. I think the first time I had surgery, I was a little nervous because I hadn't been in any pain besides the initial impact. So my mom said, you know, just letting me know after surgery, it's not going to be like now, like you're going to be in pain. So I was just kind of dreading the pain. But the second time, I just remember, like I knew how I was going to feel, and I was just really upset, kind of not looking forward to it. If someone had torn their ACL and they hadn't had surgery yet, I would probably tell them what I wish I had done the first time. Make sure you work on your quad as soon as possible. And as much as I hated hearing it, there really are, it's more to life than sports. So whenever you're recovering, maybe try something that maybe you haven't done before that's kind of stationary while you're working on the recovery process to make it a little bit more bearable, because it sucks, but you get through it. It's been about, I guess, almost 3 weeks now, and really we're just, main things I do is cycling. I'm working on getting my leg completely straight, practicing squeezing my quad, which is kind of difficult now because my knee's still kind of swollen, so I'm a little bit limited in what I can do until the swelling goes down to my knee, but we're just trying to get some range of motion. One thing that's really important to someone who's recovering from an ACL injury is you have to really celebrate the small things, because you're not going to get it all in one day. So if one day you get your knee straighter, you can run one day, or you start jumping or something small, and the physical therapist is like, oh, this is really good, and it seems so small, it probably is a little bit bigger than you think. So definitely celebrate the small things because they add up. The other day I was watching this TED Talk of this athlete, and she was supposed to go to the 1986 Olympics as a cross-country skier, but when she was training on her bike, she actually got hit by a utility truck, and she sustained like internal injuries, external injuries, like her spine, her neck, her ribs. It was pretty bad, but what she got from it was she was obviously not able to go to the Olympics, and she was paralyzed from the waist down, and the doctor told her that she's only going to get 10 to 20% of her feeling back, but now she walks with a limp. And when she was recovering, she was in her wheelchair, like looking at the sky, kind of depressed because her life had kind of ended, the life as she knew it, I guess. And she looked in the sky and saw a plane and decided, you know, if I can't walk, I'm gonna fly. And 18 months later, she has her pilot's license, commercial pilot. She's actually certified to teach. So getting hurt made her find her new life, and she believes that that was maybe the life that was meant for her. You know, it wasn't something physical, something mental and emotional. And I think me getting hurt, although it was on a smaller scale the first and the second time, made me realize that, you know, life's not all about sports, and life's not all about like my physical body. It's also about like, you know, my mental well-being, my physical, my emotional well-being, something like that. So I think getting hurt kind of opened me up to another side of me that I really hadn't thought about before, because I was always focused on, you know, my physical being and the sport. So I think me and that Olympian kind of had something in common there. Right now, next week will be 12 weeks, so next week I should probably be able to start jogging, so that's really exciting. But Right now, I think a lot of the focus is still getting me to do functional things like being able to walk up the stairs or like squatting to do, I don't know, sit down in a chair, for example, without discomfort. So just kind of like the everyday activities. It's frustrating, obviously, because it put me out of sports that I really wanted to do. And I mean, for people who want to play in college, I guess a junior year is pretty important. For me, I guess it just like came to reality that maybe it just wasn't meant to play in college. So that was frustrating, like coming to that realization. But I think it was rewarding in a way that it like opened me up to like a different part of me. So because I couldn't do sports, I like focused my energy on different things. So I had a lot of other time to like maybe focus on schoolwork, try new activities that maybe weren't as physical. And for me, doing sports all the time, doing non-sports thing, I think was something good for me. My first knee, it does feel pretty strong, and especially now that I compare it to my other knee, it's like, wow, that made a lot of progress from the last time I remember, you know. So yeah, I think it's definitely back where it was, and if not even better, because I focused on it so much last year. So another reason, I guess, why it was rewarding, because I was able to really focus on my strength and my legs, which is never that fun to do on your own. Interestingly enough, a lot of people tore their ACLs the year that I did, the first time and actually the second time too. So I feel like even with people that I might not be that close to, like I know there's this guy this year that he tore his ACL, and this like around the same time that I did, and we saw each other both on crutches. We're like, hey, twins, but like we're not even that close, but it's like it brings you together. So I think that's one thing, is like the camaraderie with people that have sports-related injuries, especially ACL, since they're so common. And I also think because my dad has had 5 surgeries on the same knee for a couple of ACL injuries and other just messed up knee problems, I feel like it kind of brought me and him together, because it was also something we could bond over, like, oh man, my knee hurts, and he's like, oh man, I know that feeling. So it was kind of like me and my dad like kind of felt each other a little bit more. All in all, I feel that sports have gotten me really far in life, but I think my injuries probably got me even further. I would never wish it upon anybody else, but personally, I think everything happens for a reason. So I think me getting hurt was meant to push me to a new stage in life. So my advice to people who have gotten sports-related injuries are, it's not the end of the world, and that sounds cliche, and that's probably not what you want to hear, but it's cliche because it's the truth. So, you know, there are other things out there, and your injury is probably setting you up for something that maybe you didn't even know you were good at. So I say be ready to explore all new possibilities, because I know there are a lot of new possibilities out there for me.